Hey everyone, today I wanted to share with you this cute little twisted wire design. This is a really easy and really cool looking design that you can do with copper wire, and once you oxidize it, it gives it a really nice rope-like texture. And you can do this design with so many different items. You don't need any fancy stones. Here I've simply just used like an 8mm bead. And then you can even use this with raw crystals. The only requirement is that it needs to be drilled. So you'll need some beads or stones that are drilled all the way through, some 20 gauge and some 22 gauge copper wire or any other color that you'd like. To get started, we're going to use an 8mm bead and a 22 gauge copper wire or 0.6mm. This is about 10 inches, and we're going to start using this because it'll be easier on our fingers, because the twisting technique is simple, but it can also be a bit complicated to master, and it can be hard on the fingertips. So we're going to start with something a bit lighter to begin with. So we'll just take our bead and put it on our wire so we're about in the middle, and then just fold one of the wires towards the top. Maybe a bit slippery. All right, so once you have your wire, this will be a little bit tricky because this bead is going to want to spin like crazy. So what I have found to be the best is to somehow hold it in a way that I can block it with my thumb. And we're going to take these two wires here and twist them. So I like to keep the wires at a similar angle, and you're just going to simply twist. And while you're twisting, you'll notice that sometimes one of the wires will come closer and then it'll look like the other wire is simply just wrapping around it. In order to prevent that, it's really important to keep the angle right here really even, and then just take your time twisting. I also find it easier to only twist this end. I tried with this one and it gives the wire a really uneven look. It becomes really scrunched up towards the base of the bead, but maybe that's just me. Once you have your wire twisted almost to the end, we are now going to try and wrap that wire around. So again, this may be a bit slippery with the bead, but just try your best to push that wire as close as you can to the bead, and then use your fingers to gently curve it around and shape it. So here you can either stop with one loop around, or you can go around like another time to get a similar look to this style, or more like that. So I think I'm gonna go around one more time just so I can show you guys. All right, so once you get back up to that top point, just use your fingers to gently curve the wire. And let me twist mine a little bit more to make sure it's long enough for the bell. And now we're going to take our round nose pliers and gently curve that top wire back to make a bell. Use my fingers to pull. And I'm going to change the position and finish pulling the wire to make it a little loop. Okay, take the wire cutters and snip off that edge. All right, and now here, I did forget to mention that in the beginning, but we are going to use a smaller weaving wire to attach all of this, because this is a very soft, flexible wire, and this will come undone if we don't secure it. So let's just grab some 28 gauge weaving wire. There we go, we just need a little piece. So we'll just thread it through the top around both of those wires. Okay, and we're gonna loop it around 1 or 2 times to secure this. And also on the other edge. So I did about 3 times total on each side, and I'm gonna take my pliers and just give it a tug to make sure that that's really tight. And then take my wire cutters and clip as close as I can to the edge of the braided wire. And as always, we'll take our pliers to pinch it in and then run our fingers over it to make sure that there's nothing poking out. And that looks good. So that's our first one with the 8mm bead, the double rope effect. I think that looks really cute. So the next 2 are flat stones, which will be a lot easier to work with. But I just wanted to start off with the bead one because I assume a lot of you guys have a lot of beads lying around. And it is a really cute and easy way to make pendants or earrings with these. And once you get the hang of it, you can probably make them really quickly. So next we'll work with the tiger's eye. I'm gonna use a 20 gauge wire. If you think this is gonna be a bit too hard to work with, you can still use the 22 gauge and do exactly what we did with this one. But same thing, I'm using, I think this is about 12-inch piece. And we're just gonna slide our stone on until it's about in the middle. Okay. And fold one end up. And pinch as hard as you can and start twisting. All right, and I'll see you guys at the end. So we have our twisted wire and we're gonna do the same thing. You're just gonna bend this around. If you want, you can start with your pliers and move the stone like that. Moving it around. Oh, I'm shaking my camera. All right, once you have a better grip on it, you can just use your hands to shape the wire around. And like I said, this one's gonna be a lot stronger and probably more frustrating to work with, but you'll get the hang of it. For this one, I think I just want to do 1 time. So once you get it to where you like it, do the same thing and use your finger to kind of gently push and curve that wire up. And that's where the top of the pendant is going to be. We'll grab around those pliers and make a little bell. Okay, and then we'll just grab the pliers to pinch that in, adjust it if we need to. Once you have your bell where you like it, we're going to do the same thing and use a little piece of weaving wire to connect these two wires here so that they don't come apart. So I'm simply just going to thread the wire through on the side where I bent the wire in the beginning. I'm just folding this back so I can keep a better grip on it and it doesn't slip away. I'm going to wrap around once, thread it back through that same side. That way I'm wrapping around both of these wires. And I'm going to continue doing that a few times until I feel like it's secure. Make sure to pull a bit hard, but not too hard, especially with your pliers, because you may snap the wire. That's happened to me a lot of times. Just want to make sure that it feels nice and secure. I think that's about 3 times. So at this point, I'm going to thread it through this single side here, just so I can tie it off. All right, that's about 3 times. I think that is good and it won't come off. And I'll do the same thing on this other side. Once you're finished, you can just grab your wire cutters and snip off the ends as close as you can to the edge of the twisted wire. Try your best to pinch the edges in, and then rub your finger over it to make sure there's nothing that'll poke out and pick somebody's shirt or anything. All right, there you have it. Also on the back, if you find that your stone is a bit wobbly, you can take your pliers and just make a little zigzag by pinching and just twisting to the left or to the right. So there's the tiger's eye version. And this one will be pretty much the same thing. So you'll start with the stone in the middle of your wire. This is also a 12-inch piece of wire that I'm using. Okay, bend the wire up. And twist, and I'll meet you guys at the end. So for this design, I'm doing the pear shape. If you wanted to do it in the other direction, you'll need to bend the wire up the other way, because the top of the pendant is always going to be the end with the wire coming out of it for this design. So just grip the stone. This one's a bit bigger, so it should actually be easier than the others. And work the wire around just in the same way. You'll notice that wire tends to have a spring to it, so tracing the outside of the stone, it may actually end up bigger than the size of the stone, so you could just pull the wire on top to make it slightly smaller, and once it springs back, it should be about the same size as the outside of the stone. right, once you have it how you like it, do the same thing. Bend the wire up, and then grab your round nose pliers to make a bell. Once again, we're going to grab some of the small 28 gauge weaving wire, and we'll do just like we did in the one before, where we start on this edge here where we bent the wire over, and we're just going to wrap 3 times around both of these wires. As you can see, I have a bit of a gap here, so I am just going to use my fingers to squeeze that wire closer so that I can pull these, and I may have to use my pliers for this. Give these a little tug so that they're holding the wires more tightly. And we'll do the same thing. We'll finish off with 3 wraps around the left side and 3 wraps around the right side. Make sure that these wires are tight, and we'll just cut them off as close as we can to the edge of the twisted wire. And there we have it, and just make sure everything is how we want it. And same thing, if we have any problems with this twisting, we can just take our wire or our pliers on the wire and move it a little to the left, a little to the right to give it a zigzag. So there we have it. We just made 3 pendants in one video. I hope you guys enjoy this design as much as I did. I was really happy to have tried it out. I'm having a lot of fun coming up with tutorial ideas for you guys. And if you have any requests or any questions, just leave me a comment below. Please like and subscribe, and you can find me over at Instagram too at Abbey Road Jewelry. So hope you guys have a wonderful day.